Hello, welcome back to my writing channel. My name is Josie, and I'm in the middle, literally the middle, of revising my mountaineering, revenge, thriller novel. And I decided to try and do something a little fun this week. So, I tend to be a stay-at-home writer. Like, I like to have my own space. I like to be able to make drinks whenever I want, eat whenever I want, and not really have other people around. It's what I've always enjoyed doing. And in fact, the main spot that I write is right back there in that corner, right there. But my partner, Jonah, is currently gone for the next while. And I need to make sure I'm actually getting out of the house more than just going to work and coming back. So I'm challenging myself to actually get out and try new writing locations. So I think my goal right now is that I want to go to a library, a cafe, and a bookstore and try all the different places to see if I do like writing elsewhere, because I feel like I've always relied on the fact that I like to write at home. It's just what I like to do, that I haven't really questioned it very much. And so this is me questioning it. So we're going to give at least an hour or two in each of these locations and just see whether going to another place helps me or if I enjoyed it all and have it as an alternative to just writing at home all the time. We have arrived at our first writing location. So I thought I'd start out easy by going to the library because I've always loved going to the library. It feels so home-ish. I feel like out of all the locations, I'm probably going to enjoy this one the most. Like, I just have such fond memories as a kid of going to the library, like multiple times a week. I had my library card number memorized so I could check out books without needing to remember it. I did debate which library I wanted to go to because there's a ton of them at the campus of the university that I'm a grad student at. But I just thought that a lot of those libraries would make me feel more of in a work zone, and I would want to maybe lapse into working on my dissertation or something. So I've decided to really get at the heart of that hominess of a library. I was going to just go to the local public library because it's full of amazing books. Maybe I'll check some out. I don't really know. I've been to this library more frequently in the past, but then they renovated for a while and it was closed, and I really haven't been back since. So I'm really excited to check it out and just hang out for an hour or two. Not gonna lie, it was actually pretty busy. Like, most of the seats were taken, which I didn't expect on a Monday afternoon. I really thought I'd have a lot more options, but it went okay. I was a little bit distracted, but I don't know if it's necessarily because I was at the library or what. Though it was a little disconcerting because I felt like anyone walking behind me, I didn't like the fact that they could potentially look over my shoulder and see my screen. Not that anybody would, because everyone's minding their own business. Overall, though, it was nice to just be in a library again. It was a lot fancier than I remember it being. Like, before the renovations, it was a lot darker and more I don't really know what my final thoughts are about writing in the library. I think I'm gonna have to sit on it, maybe wait till I visit another place before I've really decided how I feel. So we're just gonna go home now, probably gonna get some more writing done at home when I can make myself a cup of tea and just kind of be in my own space again. I've also been getting a little bit of snow recently. I don't know if you can see that. It's so beautiful. I like when it comes down light like this because it means that I don't have to shovel the driveway. I wanted to try out my next location after work today, and I'm just about to head out to work, but I figured I should choose it now because if I go to a cafe, they close at different times than bookstores. So I figured I'd figure it out now so I can kind of time my day a little bit better later. But I can't really decide if I want to do cafe or bookstore. I've been going back and forth about which one I want to do. So got a quarter, and we're going to let the quarter decide. So heads, cafe, tails, bookstore. Okay? Heads. I guess we're going to a cafe. I'm not gonna lie, now that we've made that decision, I kind of wish I was going to a bookstore instead. It's okay, we'll go to a cafe. Will we? Yes, we'll go to a cafe. Ooh. Okay, we are done with work for the day. So we are going to the cafe, and I've been to this cafe once before just because I don't often spend a lot of time in cafes. I feel like there's a lot of like really nice little coffee huts here that are just like to go. So we tend to do that for like warm fun drinks, but I don't really do like sit down cafe. So I'm excited because I'm also hungry. I don't know what I'm gonna get. Maybe like a baked good or even like more of a meal depending on what speaks to me. The reason why I had been debating about going to the bookstore versus the cafe is because all the cafes seem to close like early-ish, like 5 o'clock. So that's why I was like to try and be done earlier so I could have time to go. Whereas like the bookstore doesn't close till 8 p.m. So, but I worked really hard. Honestly, this kind of motivated me to really like get my butt into gear and get things done. So I did like in 6 hours what it usually would take me, 8. I'm excited to turn off my work brain, and try to just focus on my story and have a good time. Yeah, I don't drink coffee, but I'm sure they'll have a lot of fun drinks that I can have in any case. Okay, you've heard it here first. I love cafes. Well, I think I love tea, and tea is at cafes, so that's why I love it. Like, I came home and the first thing I did was make a cup of tea. But yeah, I had a really good time. I was able to get in the zone, which I wasn't able to do at the library. I'm in shock. Like, I'm rethinking everything. Like, everything. Like, I really thought I could only write at home. Well, I knew I could write elsewhere. Like, I'm physically capable of it. But I didn't realize that I could just, like, get in the zone in the same way that I do at home elsewhere. This is not to say that I'm going to start going to cafes every time I want to write, because that is not in the budget, Even once a week, I don't know. But I feel like, the odd time, if I'm in a lull and I want to go on a fun little writing date with myself, or I'm hitting an exciting milestone in the revision process or in the plot, maybe it's not the worst idea to just like go to a cafe. And the drink was really good. It was this like London Fog rose. I took a photo of it so I can put that up, but it was so good. I was looking up where I can buy the tea bags myself because it was that good. So I took a photo when I left, and it was like kind of awkward. Like, they were looking at me. Not to mention, I will say, you guys should be so grateful for this video, all the B-roll I've been getting from the cafe and the library at this point, because it is super awkward for me to take that footage. Like, I am so nervous going into these places. I have to like hype myself up. I'm like, Josie, you gotta get this shot. How are they gonna know what the bookstore looks like? How are they gonna know what the cafe looks like? You could just be faking. You could just be saying that you're going to these places when in reality, you're not. You need proof. So, you're welcome. Assuming it's the tea, that's what's making the cafe just like such a good place to go, and not having that at the library, maybe that's why. It could also be because when I got to the cafe, there weren't that many people around, so I chose the back corner so that way nobody could look over my screen, because I learned from the library, so it could be that as well. And also there's just like a ton less people. Like, when I was at the library, there was like 5 or 6 people in sight of me, and then just like tons of people like in other sections. Whereas at this cafe, there was 3 people there when I got there. 2 were having this conversation that I was like trying really hard not to eavesdrop on, because I think they were strangers from like how they were talking about like certain details, but at the same time they were going like really deep into some topics that like I would not have the confidence to talk about that in a public space. But to each their own. And as my time in the cafe progressed, there was like a lot of people that came in. So that was like around 3:30. So I don't know if it's like people going for late lunch or early dinner or something. I've also been really surprised by just how many people have been in these places during like traditional work hours. Like, I really thought that I'd be hitting them during some quiet times, but so far like both places have been like pretty poppin', And so I'm a little bit nervous for the bookstore because I've been trying to figure out which bookstore I want to go to, because there is the Barnes and Noble as well as some like other smaller places. But I think all the smaller places don't have like seating, and like it's not like you go there to work. So I think I am gonna go to the Barnes and Noble. And I have been there before, but I feel like when I go, it's like I have a book that I go to that bookshelf, I get it, and then I leave. And so I haven't really spent that much time scoping stuff out. But from my little internet sleuthing, it looks like there is some seating area, and I don't know if there is a cafe. If there is, I'm gonna get another drink because that's what this video is all about. And if I have to be scared about taking videos in public, I should at least reward myself with a drink. So I think I'm gonna do that sometime in the next few days. And I think once I've had that experience, I can have a much more full view of how I feel about this whole thing. And I'll have some concluding thoughts then. But yeah, so far, library was meh and cafe was awesome. I think another thing is the cafe is like not that far from like my route to and from work, versus the library was a little bit out of the way and the bookstore is gonna be the most out of the way. So I'm also factoring that in, like the inconvenience of getting there versus like coming home. So that didn't go as well as I was hoping. I knew I wasn't really in the mood. I mean, I haven't really been in the mood to write for a few days now, but I decided that I was gonna get a large chai and then I was gonna force myself to stay and work until I finished it. And it was kind of painful the whole time. I really was just like not feeling it because the chapter that I'm working on, there's just like something that wasn't working. So I was going back to the beginning, and then there was a metaphor or something I wanted to make, and I just like wasn't able to really figure out how to make it work, so I wasted a lot of time on that. So overall, that was just like a rough time, but I don't know that that necessarily translates to me not having liked working there. I think in this case, it's like not fair to be judging the experience based on just like how I'm feeling right now and where I am in the book. So I'm not gonna give my judgment quite yet. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna try and do something to make myself feel better. And then we're gonna discuss when I can have a bit more of a clear mind about it all and not just feel like this funk that I have right now. Yeah, but I was really excited because I got a book, because this is the sequel to City of Brass, which I finished a while back, but I haven't gotten the second book yet. So I don't know, it's been long enough and I feel like my brain has been pretty all over the place that I don't know if I even remember what happened enough in the first book to go the second, so I might have to reread, but I'll see you in a little bit once I've gotten a bit more of myself back. I went on a walk to clear my head and I think that really helped. It's so warm and beautiful out that I'm not ready to go inside, so I figure we'll do our final little recap out here. So I think I want to start with the positives first, because there are positives from working in the bookstore. I mean, when it's a bookstore, it's very pretty. I had a hot drink, which was lovely. I really liked writing next to the fireplace. It was really cozy. That would like startle me at times because it would kind of like die down and then flare up again like it was a fake chimney. Also, looking at the books was really nice, and I'm honestly kind of surprised by how many books nowadays have those like sprayed edges. Like there was just like the plain colors or all the different kinds of patterns on them. Like that was really surprising. I'm kind of bummed that my book didn't have, that sprayed edge, but it was fun to look at all the ones that did, and they were really beautiful. But I won't lie, there were some things that I didn't enjoy. So I was sitting in kind of a really open area. There was only the one area just outside of the Starbucks that you could sit and work. It was so busy. I am starting to think that there's not enough jobs in Fairbanks, because what are all these people doing in a work day, hanging out at the library, at the bookstore, at the cafes? I mean, To be fair, I'm also hanging out those times, so you could argue that I'm not working enough. I just feel like I like the peace and quiet. Like, that's why I like the cafe so much at the beginning, was I just felt like there weren't that many people around. I could really just focus. I wasn't constantly thinking about all the people around me, watching them, trying to figure out what they're there for, like who are they with, what are the relationships of the different people. Like, it's a little distracting for me. Though I didn't care as much this time when people would walk past me and look at my screen. I think I was just too tired to care, to be honest. If I was more well rested, maybe I would be a little bit, nervous about the fact that people are seeing me trying to write a book in a bookstore. But I think in conclusion, right, like I said, the library was meh. The coffee shop was pretty great. I had a really good time when I went there. And then this bookstore, maybe it falls somewhere in between. I did like having a hot drink. I think that really does help with the writing. I am really happy that I did this, that I tried to push myself, because honestly, I was kind of anticipating from the beginning that my conclusion was going to be that I'm just like not into writing in these places. But that's not entirely true. Like, I did really enjoy writing at the cafe. I could see myself enjoying the bookstore more, the library more, if I was just, I don't know, if it was just less people or I was in a better mood. I probably will try working in cafes again in the future. Like, I did really enjoy that, and I'm excited for spring and summer to be able to work outside. Though at that point you get like the glare of the sun, and that can mess you up a little bit. But if you're still here, thanks for making it to the end. Hope my attitude for this last location isn't too much of a bummer, but yeah, I'll see you in the next video.